Good morning. We're going to get the June 21st Cottington County Commission weekly meeting called to order here. If you have a cell phone, please silence it or turn it off. If you do get a call and you need to take it, please step out into the rotunda and visit or talk so you don't disrupt. Might note that this meeting is being live streamed, so you'll know ahead of time. With that, I will accept
I would make a motion to
approve the agenda.
Second.
A motion by Hatton, a second by Gable. By who? Van Duzen?
That's fine.
Commissioner Van Duzen, second. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action to approve then the minutes of the June
Move to approve
13th
as
meeting.
Second
Mayo.
that.
We have a motion by Hatton, a second by Gable. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Number 3 is action to canvass and approve the votes of the County Board of Election. We had election yesterday, and Cindy?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to read, I've given you all a spreadsheet that I prepared. I'm going to read to you from the printouts from the ballot scanner. The only thing we are canvassing is the county bond election. So I think it's on the second page of that handout that I gave you. You can disregard that first page. I'll read the votes as they were cast last night, just make sure that I have them correct on the spreadsheet. And we will start with Ward A. Yes votes were 699, the no votes were 578. Ward B, the yes votes were 563, the no votes were 517. Ward C, the yes votes were 267, the no votes were 267. Ward D, the yes votes were 384, the no votes were 409. Ward E, the yes votes were 515, the no votes were 545. The Dexter Fuller Florence precinct, the yes votes were 38, the no votes were 94. The Eden Phipps and Wallace precinct, the yes votes were 20, the no votes were 18. The Elmira, Germantown, Kempesca, Lake, Rawville, Richland, and Sheridan Township precinct, the yes votes were 174, the no votes were 234. The Graceland, Henry Township, and Town of Henry precinct, yes votes were 22, no votes were 41. The Leola South Shore precinct, the yes votes were 10, the no votes were 50. The Waverly precinct,
Cindy, you missed Kranzberg.
Oh, I did. Yep.
Yeah.
Kranzberg
Okay.
Township.
Yep, let me see where that report is. I'll have to grab the one off my desk.
Yeah. This one's surprising.
Okay.
It's just you.
Kranzberg Township and the town of Kranzberg, the yes votes were 18, the no votes were 63. And Waverly Township, the yes votes were 18, the no votes were 55. The grand total, yes votes were 2,728, the no votes were 2,871.
All right, you heard the official results. I would accept a motion to accept.
Make that motion.
I have a
Second.
motion by Hatton, a second by Van Dusen. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any comments? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. It's done.
Just a side note, the total turnout for the county was 31%. which is a good turnout for an election like that. And it helped that we combined with the city. Their total turnout was 34%.
Is that high for a city election?
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Good. Thanks to all the people that participated.
All right. Next item then, number 4 is our monthly meetings, Highway Department, and Rick is here. Morning, Rick. Good morning.
Morning, Rick.
I just have a few things on my agenda for the monthly report. First thing is the bid letting we had for the roofing project. I have the contracts with WeatherGuard, roofing of Watertown, and need a signature on. The bids have already been let and awarded, so this is just signing of the contract.
There's no action needed for this
Correct.
one.
Next item I have is last week I was contacted by Richard Scott of the Burlington Northern Railroad regarding our County Road 6 crossing up there, and that's good news, but throughout the conversation I felt like I was being blackmailed. The railroad wants $850 per foot to replace their rails and so forth with the county road right away. I haven't got the proposal. I said I didn't agree with him, but I said I'm waiting for a proposal. You have to send a proposal. I can't approve it. The commission has to approve it, but I think that's, our road right up to it's in good shape. It's their railroad, and the material in between the rails, it's terrible. And they're saying, basically, he said, if you want it fixed, this is what it's going to cost you. So, I'm still waiting for that proposal, but at least you guys know that there has been, Burlington Northern has responded.
Is that typical, Rick? I mean, other ones that have had been fixed?
The ones they did at Grover, they did 2 down there last year, and I tried to convince them to spend the money on Waverly or Old 81 where it's needed. And at that time I was told that they're spending them there, they've got the money to spend it there, and if we wanted it moved, they'll take it to Minnesota and improve a crossing over there. So they repaired those. At our only cost to those was we had to do our road adjacent to the tracks.
Right.
Now this one, there's been a lot of response, a lot of complaints, so they feel the people really want this fixed. So if you want to fix that bad, you need to pay $850 a foot to do it.
Well, I went over that on my motorcycle here last week, and it was a really rough.
It is
Yeah,
terrible.
It's dangerous
It's bad.
if somebody was to hit that.
And it's been that way for several years, and I've been calling them. There's a number on that railroad crossing, and I've encouraged people to call. I know Christy Nolan's office has contacted them, and they finally responded. Like I said, they know we're serious, that it's a bad crossing, but if they can get the county to pay $850 a foot to repair it.
You said, Rick, was that $850?
$850 a foot, $25,000 plus, just to pay for their part of it.
I didn't think I heard that properly.
Right. We still have to do our road adjacent to it to match up to these tracks. That's just for their part of it, to replace their rail and the stuff in between the rail and stuff. Like I said, after this conversation, my blood pressure was probably a little higher than one before the conversation started.
Just a side note, and I've had literally many complaints. Living right there, they think it's my responsibility, I think. Anyway, lots of people. But as we go back a few years now, we, in our negotiation with Dakota Sioux Casino, part of that negotiation is that they participated in some funding which we have been receiving for the past years, and part of that was for road maintenance leading to the casino, or in a radius around casino. And I think that probably a lot of that damage that's done at the railroad tracks is probably from traffic headed to the casino. And so maybe that's something that we need to consider or think about, that maybe those funds, that's what they could be used for. Just to make you feel better, Rick.
Yeah. All right.
Does it make you feel better?
No.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, any idea or do you recall how much funds we're talking about that the casino might have contributed?
Sure. Cindy's doing that right now, I think.
Sorry, what have we?
So evidently,
I'm
Rick.
multitasking. What are we?
Oh, the dollar amount on a yearly, what do we get from the casino on a yearly stipend in lieu of taxes?
We have a contract, this year, it's around $100,000, I believe.
Yeah.
Let me double check.
And that's for ambulance and police.
Right.
Yeah,
And roads.
the city gets a portion of that as well, right?
But
The
also,
city gets the city gets a portion, Rawville Township gets a portion, and this board decided years ago that the county's portion would go to the county highway
Right.
Yep.
fund.
yeah, so it does go to the county highway fund.
It's around 100,000. And it
Now do you
does-
feel
it is
better?
going up.
Well, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That funds was also to repair like Sioux Conifer road maintenance,
Yes.
County Road 6
Right.
maintenance
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
not
Correct.
just for that.
Sure. Oh, yeah, yeah.
And it's police and fire as well. Right.
Okay.
Law enforcement. ambulance,
So
that
evidently,
sort of thing.
the way they see it or the way they do it, they have just like you, a plan of when they go and do these, but when it's a request that's not within that, then they charge you to have it done.
Right, yep. And typically, the legislation goes back to the early railroad days. If it gets to the transportation board in the state or the federal highway, they will look at who's benefiting from improving this crossing. The railroad will say, our rail is fine, we don't really need to do anything with that rail. The people using the road are the ones that want the improvement, so then they will judge who's gaining on it, and typically it'll end up 80-20. The road department will have to pay 80 and the railroad will have to pay 20 for an improvement if you request it like that.
Okay.
$850? Is that
Per foot.
per foot?
Is that linear or square?
No, that's per linear foot for the crossing. I haven't got the proposal now. I'm guessing they'll at least do 30 feet. So you're looking at $25,000 to $35,000 county cost for that.
Any idea when they might schedule it for a normal fix?
No, have no idea. As long as have made a request, they probably won't.
Rick, when do they anticipate having that proposal to you?
I don't know. I talked to him last week and I asked him to submit. I gave him my email address, submit a proposal so I can bring to the commission.
Okay.
I don't have a date on it, so I'm still waiting on it.
I've had neighbors, I've had a lot of people say that they think that they've caused severe damage to their drivetrain on their vehicles because of it's just terrible. It's bad.
Yeah. And they last year they improved a lot of the rail crossings on the gravel roads up there, which you're aware of, which was kind of a sore spot with me also. They closed down county roads. I never knew they were coming. They didn't put barricades up. They put a little bit of snow fence across them. I know I had people damage their vehicles going through them. The railroad really hasn't been a good partner to work with on rural railroad crossings.
And we have that flagged up there, right, for safe traffic to just tell
And
them
we've
it's
got
coming.
reduced to 15 mile an hour
Yeah.
speed sign, and
Excellent.
and, got flashing lights on it for night, because it's
Yeah.
terrible. It's actually better now than in the middle of the winter when the frost is in the ground. It's a lot worse than it is right now.
Thank you.
We're not allowed to touch that at all, are we, Rick?
No, we can't work within the railroad right away.
I didn't think so. Hoping so.
And I have done work up to the railroad rails within the I've been in contact with Austin Engineering. Our bridge inspections for this year have been completed. Today at 12 o'clock he's going to be at my office. We're going to go over them and look at what needs to be done on our bridges, repair work. Also, while he's in my office, I'm going to discuss with him do an estimate for preliminary engineering for 3 bridges. 2 of them are on Old 81 north of town, and 1 of them is on County Road 7 east of town. And I've spoke to the commission about these prior. I need to get an estimate. We need to get the application in by, I believe it's July 17th for an application for the bridge improvement grant for preliminary engineering. So I'm going to visit with him and possibly have him give us an estimate on what the preliminary engineering is going to be for these 3 bridges, and then go ahead with that big application. But after I get that information, I will bring that application to the commission, for your guys' approval.
Okay, thank you.
I guess that's all I have.
And road mowing?
They're mowing when they aren't chip sealing. I've had requests from several landowners not to mow. They want to hay it. Some of it is getting waist high though, and we're going to have to do it, but we're kind of holding off, hoping that the landowners do a lot of it. And we're also busy doing the chip sealing. When they get a break because of rain or something like that, then we'll go out and do some mowing.
I mowed some yesterday, and I'd be surprised. There's pretty good grass in the ditches, and
Yeah, there is.
I kind of felt I was using my garden tractor, and I should have left it for the farmers, but there was some thistles in it, and I wanted to get them cleaned up. So, anything else for Rick? Any other questions?
I would just like to thank Rick and his crew for doing the dirt work for the building.
Oh, okay, yeah, that site looks real nice. Yeah, and we had to go down, I've given them an estimate for about a foot deep. We actually had to go down 2 feet deep in some places because the black dirt went 2 feet deep, but I haven't got the estimate yet. I haven't got the final cost. I gave them an estimate figuring 1 foot, but I think we'll be right in the ballpark of what the estimate I think gave him. So.
One question on the ditch mowing. Is there a date before when they can't mow for pheasants or wildlife production?
On the state system, there is, county does not have a date. And on the state system, that date, no teeth to it. They do have a date of July, and I'm not even sure what it is, 10th, I believe. But there is no fine if you mow before that date.
That's just a suggested.
Right, yes.
Anything else? Okay, thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Rick.
Thanks,
Waiting
Rick.
for that railroad proposal when you get
Yeah,
that.
I will, yeah.
All right, maintenance, Milo is not here today. I don't know if any of you, all of you realize that Milo's father did pass away, and we certainly send our prayers and thoughts to him and his family. I did get one thing, and I don't know if you got it. Did you get it, Cindy?
The Memorial Park
Yeah.
sign, yeah, I think I sent that to everybody.
Yeah, there's a proposal for the sign for Memorial Park, and I think I text Milo back, and I said, we'll just wait till he gets back and take a look at that, and with his recommendation, go from there. So if that's all right with the rest of the commission, that's how we handle that. All right, let's go to number 5, and I think Mr. Todd Keys is here. And this is action to approve a resolution to support for the First District Association of Local Governments. And what are we going to get for our money, Mr. Todd? We've appreciated what you've done in the past, and been an integral part of a lot of the work that we have done in the past year. Go ahead, Todd.
Well, good afternoon, good morning. Seems like a long day already. As you are well aware, on an annual basis, the First District Association of Local Governments extends an opportunity to all of the 11 counties and 76 communities within the planning district to join and retain our services to the county and our membership. And basically, those dues are paid by all of the counties and the communities with more than 100 individuals living in those communities. The dues schedule is a dues schedule that was adopted in 2012 by my governing body, which has representation from Cottington County that sits on that board. It's a 10-year due cycle that will expire in 2022. There's a 3% lift every year in the due schedule per county. Your dues this next coming year is somewhere in the neighborhood of $39,700, I believe, something like that.
39,734.
Right, and basically those dues allow our operation to match other federal and state grants and conduct services on behalf of the county and the municipalities within the county. As you all are aware, we do have had a 46-year relationship with the county and have provided a wide range of services from grant writing, project administration, policy development, GIS administration, GIS development. We're also currently serving as your zoning officer for the county, and basically we do whatever you ask us to do. And so I'm just here to take any questions if you have any, and hopefully request that you decide that you want to be a member for another year.
Is there any questions for Todd?
I would make a motion. that
I'll
we
second
approve
that.
the
I have a
resolution.
motion by Hatton, second by Waterman. Any more discussion? I just will reiterate what I said before. Just looking back this past year and just what Luke on planning and zoning part has done, and you too, Todd, that's been worth its weight in gold. I mean, we've depended heavily on, and it continues as we sit here today. Any other discussion?
I'd just also like to say we appreciate all the help that you guys are. Anytime that we call or need something, you always make the time for us, and we appreciate that.
We appreciate you.
Thank you very much, Todd.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Have a great day.
Thanks.
Now,
Thanks,
you
Todd,
don't
you
have
too.
a contract
I
to
do.
sign? Or?
I have some stuff
All right.
for you after the meeting.
All right, very good. Number 6, State's Attorney.
Patrick could not be here, and this was more something of my request. It's just recently came to my attention that we probably have maybe some department heads that don't realize that interns should be pre-approved by this board. The question came up, somebody thought we had an intern in the detention center, so I emailed Tom and asked him, and he says, no, not currently. Well, when he said currently, that kind of put off an alarm in my head. So I contacted Terry, and I think we should have something put in our personnel policy about interns. Any intern, before they are approved to start here, should be approved by this board for our workers' comp purposes. Just like the volunteer we have at Memorial Park and the search and rescue people, they're not our employees, but they're covered. And the weather spotters are considered volunteers, and we have to list them every year. So I would like a motion to approve the intern in the State's Attorney's Office. His name is Brett Reese. He is a student at SDSU, and he has been shadowing Patrick and will continue through the summer down there. He does assist in the office when possible.
I'll
You've
make
heard the
that
request. Is there a
Second.
motion? A motion by Van Duzen, second by Gable. Any more discussion?
Yeah, question, Mr.
Yes.
Chairman. So is this, with our current workers' comp plan, this kind of thing is covered by that?
It
We
is.
just-
It
we
is
just
as
have to be-
long as the individual is noted in the
Right,
minutes
okay.
and approved by this board. That's all it takes.
This question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
What is the difference, I guess, on search and rescue? We don't have to approve every...
We
new
approve a
member.
roster every year.
Okay.
At the beginning of the year, we do approve a roster, and that includes search and rescue and weather spotters would be the other people.
Inclusive,
Yeah.
okay.
So, yep.
All right.
Anything else? Any other questions? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same sign. Number 8, discussion and action regarding the board's regular weekly meeting during the week of July 4th. And I did visit with Cindy just prior to our meeting here a little bit, and unless it would bother any of you, I think that we can not have a meeting on the 4th of July or even the 5th of July and forego that week. And our first meeting in July would be the 12th. You're looking at the calendar,
The 11th.
Lee?
The 11th.
The 11th?
Yeah.
Okay, the 11th. Is that okay with everyone?
Does it work for Cindy? Will we-
It works for me. Currently, there's nothing on the agenda, so.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Sure.
Due to the fact that people are here, there, and some of them take a long weekend, some of them take half the week off, all week, I would make that a motion.
We have a motion by Waterman.
I'll second
A
that.
second by Gable. Any more discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Number 8 is our fireworks discussion, and I said that I would be in contact with Brian in the sheriff's office. We did communicate to some extent. My recommendation is to leave it as it is. That decision I made based on, we did have a complaint filed since we had this discussion earlier on, and I don't think we need to loosen up our strings on this anymore, and let's just ride this out for another year or so, to continue on with the policy that we currently have. Is that all right with the commission? Is
So
that
moved.
all right with the board? Do we need a motion on that?
I don't think.
No,
We're
I
just
don't
having
think we need a
discussion.
motion, we're
No,
just
it's
going to
just
continue.
discussion.
Yeah. All right, thank you, appreciate that. Number 9 is review of the 2018 budget request for nonprofit entities.
Can we
And
skip to let's skip over number 9 and leave that for the end of the meeting.
All right.
Can we skip to number 10?
we'll go to 10, then action to approve claims. Do we have any claims?
We do. We have our 911 payment to the city of Watertown in the amount of $21,346.69. We have our credit card Visa direct deposit payments. First one is for the treasurer's office in the amount of $30, and that was for fuel for a county vehicle on our recent trip to Pierre for the spring workshop. Second one is the sheriff's office. Part of this is reimbursement for Sheriff Howell's travel to Colorado for the event he went to. We have been reimbursed, and this is the credit card charges, along with some supplies, and that amounts to $2,095.96. That is also a Visa. And the final Visa is the emergency management, and it is for miscellaneous supplies, maintenance items, and that's in the amount of $244.94.
Move to approve those claims.
We have a motion by Hatton, a second by Gable. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Action to approve automatic budget supplements. Do we have any of those today?
None today.
All right, let's go to 13, action to approve personnel changes. We got, I think, a couple of those.
Yep, and one more came in since I sent your packets out. The first one is Greg Tracy, and he is being hired as a part-time correctional officer to add to our pool of part-time people. And these individuals do not qualify for benefits, and they are basically on an on-call basis to replace full-time employees as needed. Second one is Michelle Peterson in the Director of Equalization Office. Her anniversary step increase is due, and the Director of Equalization recommends keeping her in the new database coordinator job description with the new pay scale at step 11, $23.36 an hour, and that was something you approved last week, I believe, the new pay scale. And then Julie Galliseth is a part-time correctional officer who has reached the required number of hours worked to move to the next step. She'll go from step 1 to step 2, and that's $17.74 an hour.
You've heard the request, motion by Hatton, second by Gable. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Action to approve some travel requests. We have one here.
Yep, and that's the only one that came in. It's the Director of Equalization Annual Assessors School, and that is in October in Pierre. And you can see the the dollars involved in that lodging expense for 5 employees, and meals and registration. And this is an annual event that is budgeted for.
Move to approve.
I have a motion by Hatton, a second by Gable. Any discussion?
And I should say it's a required event. It's not an annual event, it's a required event. It's their annual school.
And it's also budgeted, I'm sure.
Correct. Yep.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. Do we have any old business?
Mr. Chairman, I think I should probably say something about the vote of the Justice Advisory Committee. I think I should probably say something about the vote in the Justice Advisory Committee. I was asked for some reactions by the media last night, but just to hit a few things again. Obviously, we got closer this time than in 2014, but it wasn't close enough on the vote. But we still have the problems that we do with our facilities that we're responsible for. So we have a duty as a county to deal with jail and court facilities. But we need to be humble, teachable as we go about it, and. We have our Justice Advisory Committee. We're scheduled to meet on June 27th at 6:10, so that's still on the calendar. So the plan was to talk about the way ahead at that meeting, whatever the outcome of the vote is. So now we'll be putting together an agenda and beginning to talk about a way ahead and some of the preliminary options given the situation now that this last vote did not pass. So just a reminder, 27th. LATI at 6:10, CCJAC meeting. Thank you.
Okay. I'd like to take this moment just to thank Lee and that committee that has worked diligently on this project. And I mean diligently, they've put in hours and hours and hours of work. And we certainly don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's a lot of good things that have come from the hard work that they've done, and we got pretty darn close this time, the situation is we still have the problem.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I'd like to echo what you said. Thank you to my colleagues on the Justice Advisory Committee. A lot of stuff has been accomplished, so a lot of the analytical work to figure out what our needs really are. That's been largely done. Of course, as time goes by, we'll need to update that, but the baseline is there. So, and that's been a lot of work on the part of the Justice Advisory Committee, as well as some of the consultants and the architect that we brought in too. So,
yeah, thank you. Any other old business? Is there any new business? Any new business? Is there anything for the open?
I have some events that there possibly could be a quorum of commissioners at. Of course, I don't know. Crystal Springs Rodeo is going on starting tonight through
what's that?
Saturday. Crystal Springs Ranch Rodeo, if there could be a quorum there. Friday night is Zoofari at the zoo, their fundraiser. June is Dairy Month, and Modak Dairy is having their open house from 10 to 1 on Saturday. And that's all I have up till next Tuesday is the STIP meeting at First District, 10 o'clock in the morning. Which, will be in our meeting more than likely, so.
The only thing that I would have is that on Monday night, the Planning and Zoning Board did meet. We had what we're in the process of doing is, like we had planned on before, is start revisiting some of those ordinances, or all the ordinances, in fact. We were not able to do any of that on Monday night simply because of the lengthy agenda that we had. We did cover a lot of things, but probably one of the more important ones that we did get through and was able to, I guess I call it successfully approve, was the request for wind farm proposal, and we granted them a conditional use permit. It was an example of if anyone wishes to apply for a conditional use permit, they should take a lesson from these people. I always say, if you're going to come to us, please have your I's dotted and your T's crossed, and they did. They supplied all of the board members with a very, very detailed packet ahead of time. And they also came equipped with, I think they had 4 experts with them, their attorney, wind people, their sound, the noise specialist, environmentalist, and the whole 9 yards. And so any questions that were raised from the audience were answered immediately and with dignity. I mean, they were very right down to earth. They didn't pressure anyone. They answered the questions using, I guess, what I considered scientific proof of what their results or what their answers were to the questions. There were about 85 people in attendance, so there was a pretty good number there. But what they had done ahead of time is they'd met with many, many of the people that are affected by this wind farm in one-on-one sessions or in small meetings and group meetings, and had taken care of any of the questions and anxieties that any of our voters in that area dealt with. And this was primarily in Germantown and Rawville townships. That's where these are. And there's 48 towers. That was what the request was. So anyone, Brenda was there and Charlie was there. Any comments, any addition to that?
And that, this is step 1 of the process. They still need to get their PUC and federal and state permits also before this project can go forward. So, but this is the first step in order for them to move forward on that and try to get those approved. And there is about 4 towers or so in Leola Township also. So,
and it's probably going to be at the earliest probably late 2018 or 19 before any of the towers are built. So, or actually before they can actually hook up to the tie line or the electrical source to get the power out. You hit your button, Commissioner Van Dusen?
No, I was shutting it off.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Chairman, and just to refresh my memory a little bit, or Brenda, didn't they say the noise level was going to be about 50 decibels or 55 decibels?
50.
Right.
Which was no more than the noise in the room.
Yeah, they had one of those measuring pieces of equipment there that night, and it was on their desk on, I think on Bob Fox, the sheriff's desk right there sitting, and we never got above, I think at one time it was 53 decibels is what it was, so it was a lot quieter than it is in here this morning. It's pretty quiet, so. All right, thank you. Now let's revert back to the request for from nonprofits, which is item number 9. Well, before we go, we have a gentleman out here. Do you have?
It's with the public opinion.
Well, I thought so, but
You're just not in your normal spot.
you're not in your normal spot, and I just wanted to make certain that you were who you were, and you weren't here with some requests or something like that. All right. You can't hardly find enough to put in the paper today, can you?
Not a whole lot.
You had your choice of
Does
seating this morning.
Yeah.
Does Mr. Roby have some name tags up there? Or a hat with your press in it?
Big press on that.
All right. I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
we're all right. Good to have you here, by the way. We don't have any radio. You're it. So any news that leaves here today is your baby. All right, Cindy, what do we have?
If you want to pull out your budget books, they were laying on your desk, yep. The budgets we're going to review this morning are not only the nonprofits, but they're also like the Board of Mental Illness, the ones that I basically take care of. The first one is judicial systems, and it should come on page 5, right behind, kind of behind the Commissioners tab.
Auditor.
It's before the Auditor tab. Because we just can't tab all of these pages, especially these small ones. So it's between the Commissioners tab and the Auditor tab.
I have nothing. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I found it. I got her.
And this is a judicial systems budget. I just left it the same way it was last year. I estimated $74,000, and most of that is for postage, witnesses, and jury duty is basically what makes up their budget. We budget a little bit for supplies and repairs and maintenance if something should come up, but we don't put a lot in there because I've tried to give this to the court systems to prepare, and they would rather not prepare it, so it just comes back to us. Okay, let's skip past the auditor's budget and the treasurer. We'll do those when we do our monthly reports, but I did give you all the information if you want to look those over ahead of time. After the treasurer's tab, there is a budget for the collection agency. It'd be page 9 up in the right-hand corner. Yep. This is the percentage of our contract that we have with our collection agency, and based on what we've been collecting this year, I increased that to $28,000 because they are collecting some good fees for us. So basically, this budget is kind of a wash. They're collecting fees for us, we're paying a portion of it back to them. So let's skip past the state's attorney's budget. Right after the state's attorney, you'll find the public defender budget. In the left-hand corner, it's activity 152 is the activity number. And I based this budget on our contracts for public defender, which do run through 2018.
I'm sorry, where did you see this?
It's right after the right after the state's attorney budget.
Page 12.
Yep, it'd be page 12. Yep. It's a public defender budget. We estimate miscellaneous costs to the attorneys for witnesses, copies, that type of thing. And then the first line item is the actual contract amounts that we have with the public defender, the primary, and the secondary.
Weren't we running a little short on that one this week, or this month, or this year, I mean?
No, that's court-appointed attorney.
Okay.
That's
Oh,
the
okay.
fund. That's the budget
Yeah.
when the public defender can't cover.
Yep.
And there are certain cases the public defender cannot take. So there's a recent need for a public defender. He could not take the case, so it has to go to a court-appointed attorney. So that means we actually have to pay out
Their rate.
And this, because that case could be catastrophic, we are going to start tracking those costs to see if we could get any reimbursement if we go over the $25,000. It's too early to tell what's going to happen with that, but just in case.
Right.
Cindy, I have a question.
Yep.
I just see it on several of these pages where in 2017, there's 100 and, on page 12 there we have 100,138, and then there's 254, and it goes, requested amount is 261.
Yep.
Is that?
So that first column, the 100,000, that's what we have spent through May in that budget this year. The next column is what we've actually budgeted for the whole year.
Okay.
So you can see what amount of the budget we have spent so far. We've spent 100,000 out of 254,000.
So
and then the 261 is based on what the contract will call for in 2018.
Okay, so
Okay.
approximately this is January through
May expenditures.
through June.
Nope, May. May. Yep. I ran the report in June, but it only goes through May expenditures because we aren't through with the month of June yet. So, the next page is the court-appointed attorney budget. You can see how that's been running from 2014 through 2016. 2016 was a little bit higher year. So I just left that amount at 100,000 again for 2018. And we did have to supplement that in 2016, but we'll see what happens the remainder of this year what kind of case. There's just no way to plan for that. The next page is the abused and neglected child defense. We haven't had a lot of expenditures out of there the last couple of years, but we still need to budget something for it, so I put $3,000 in there. The next budget is the catastrophic legal. We belong to that pool through the South Dakota Association of County Commissioners, and I put that at $35,000. It's been in that amount for a few years, and that's also, those costs are also directly based on any claims other counties in the pool would have.
Are all counties in the state part of this?
I don't know. It's you join if you want to. I know there are some counties that are not, but I can't tell you how many are. I know a large number of them are. So if there's a huge case in some other county, it all gets prorated out to the participating counties, and we pay our share.
What does that cover, Cindy?
The county has to pay the first $25,000 out of their funds,
Okay.
and then they get reimbursed for costs, any costs over $25,000. I think it's 90%. I believe.
Insurance policy, basically.
Yep, basically it is, and it has worked out. We've used it.
I just got to think that board that adjudicates those claims.
You just got to point into the, okay.
Tyler was on it before.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let's skip past government buildings. And we'll go past Director of Equalization and Register of Deeds and Veterans Service. Okay, right after the Veterans Service budget, we have our predatory animal budget, and that is an amount we are assessed by the state of South Dakota. I put a cover letter behind that budget sheet. We're budgeting $6,500. Just the state says it'll be $6,100, but I'd rather give it a little bit of a cushion. That would be page 24, activity 166, right behind the Veterans Service budget. And there's a cover there from the South Dakota Department of Game, Fish, and Parks. That explains what that's for. The next budget, right behind that one, is the unemployment insurance budget. We put $10,000 in there annually. 2014 and 15, we did not have any claims. 2016 and 17, we have had some. So that's just a just-in-case budget also. If we don't spend it, cash goes back into the general fund. The next budget is the Watertown Transit budget, and they are requesting $30,000. They gave us a copy of their project budget summary for you to look at. And I'm sure Brenda is on that board. She can share anything that you may have questions on that one. We're going to skip the sheriff and jail budgets. Right behind the jail budget is the coroner budget. And that's another one that I prepare, and I just prepare it based on the expenditures we have seen in previous years. 2016, we spent $19,000. We have $17,000 budgeted this year. We've spent $4,500. That can increase very rapidly. So the amount for 2018, I just put at $20,130, and that'll be based directly on calls for the coroner.
We actually raised that last year. That, didn't we?
His monthly fee, I cannot recall. The first of the year? Okay, I could not tell you for sure. The next budget is the youth at risk budget, and this is for when we would have to pay for any juvenile from Cottington County who gets put into one of the behavioral centers for juveniles across the state. We have not had anything the last couple of years, which means our local programs are probably working to keep those kids out of facilities. So we just have a $5,000 budget there just in case. And this is also a budget that has there are grants, when we do have a juvenile that is put into one of these facilities, we can apply for grant funds. I don't know who, is it the county commissioners who also handles the juvenile detention?
Yeah, we're
JDI.
getting started with the juvenile detention.
Yeah,
initiative, but that's
But there is a program that we have gotten reimbursement for in past
that's
years.
part of, juvenile
So,
justice. That's the state's attorney
Okay.
diverting.
The next budget is the Humane Society. They have requested $5,000. They have provided you with a copy of their balance sheet for their organization. We're going to skip the Care of the Poor. Sarah will be going over that one. Right behind Care of the Poor is the Public Welfare Office. This is a state facility, and by statute, the county is allowed to provide funding to them for items that they need to purchase locally for supplies for their office out there and the clients they work with. Basically, this $1,500 goes to work with clients. And that's been an annual budget for over 25 years, even longer. We will review the county nurse budget because basically, that's the next one in your book. Basically, this is just for the salary for the one clerical person in the nurse's office. They budget a little bit for supplies, a little bit for repairs and maintenance. That $14,500, that includes their postage and the amount that we contract with the state of South Dakota to maintain that office.
What increases are they using for?
I think they're using 3% for wage increases, and they estimated 10% for health insurance, just as in case. You know, we don't anticipate a 10% increase, but we've got to budget something, got to start somewhere. So that's what most of the departments did, was budget 3% for wages, 10% for health insurance.
Okay.
So you can see that budget went up about $500 from 2017 to 2018. We'll let Milo take care of the West Nile budget. Following the West Nile budget, we have the Interlakes Community Action Community Service Worker budget and the Senior Aid Companions.
Is that under mental health, or is that?
Nope, it's right
Okay.
after
West Nile?
right after West Nile.
All right.
Yep, and
That's page 45?
42, page 42.
Yep.
Okay.
ICAP, or Senior Companions, provided you with some data from their organization, and ICAP also provided you with a cover letter. The ICAP funds are for the Community Service Worker Program, and the Senior Aid Companion is outlined on their sheet. Senior Aid Companion left their request at $1,500, which it has been for a number of years, and ICAP increased theirs slightly. The overall increase for that budget is for the past several years, and they left that at $12,000 again. And they also provided you with a balance sheet of their organization. Following the domestic abuse budget, there is the Social Services Watertown Volunteer. They have requested $2,500 a year for a number of years. That is a local organization. They also provided you with a cover letter and a balance sheet for their organization. Directly following that budget is the mentally handicapped budget. These are for the residents of the county who are involuntarily sent to the Human Service Center in Yankton, and it's also for the voluntary admissions, which are normally people who work through Human Service Agency here in Watertown and need some kind of alcohol and drug coverage, or alcohol and drug care. It's been the county's policy that when that person qualifies to go to Yankton for that treatment, The state normally pays everything, but they will not pay the $600 admittance fee, so it's been the county's policy to pay that fee for those individuals for many years.